There's a strategy used by certain big game predators when hunting called isolation. This works by causing panic in the herd to get them to move. Once on the move, they start to direct the herd, exposing the prey of choice. Once the prey of choice is isolated from the herd, it loses its protection and becomes overwhelmed until it's devoured. This is the same strategy the enemy uses to isolate wives when he wants to destroy marriages, because the Bible says that the woman is the weaker vessel. 1 Peter 3:7 says, "Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel." What does this look like when the enemy is working on your marriage? Well, the first thing he does is he begins to dismantle the home, weaken the relationship, stir resentment in the wife's heart towards her husband, break their unity, and disrupt their communication. A divided home is a vulnerable home. When unity is broken, the enemy gains access to sow discord and confusion. A wife who feels emotionally or spiritually disconnected from her husband is more susceptible to doubt, frustration, and negative influences. Small misunderstandings can quickly turn into deep-seated bitterness, and before long, the foundation of the marriage begins to crack. What once felt secure and loving starts to feel distant and strained. The enemy thrives on isolation. When a wife is cut off from her husband, whether through busyness, unresolved conflict, or emotional withdrawal, she becomes an easy target for deception. Thoughts of inadequacy, loneliness, and resentment begin to creep in. Instead of seeing her husband as her partner and protector, she may begin to view him as the problem, and her heart begins to harden. Without realizing it, she begins to fight against the very person that God has given her for support. This attack isn't just about the wife, it affects the husband as well. A husband who feels dishonored or unappreciated may withdraw emotionally or stop leading his family spiritually. Frustration replaces tenderness, and communication becomes strained. The home, which once was a place of peace, turns into a battleground. The enemy knows that when the marriage is weak, the entire house suffers. Children feel the tension, and the spiritual atmosphere of the home is disrupted. In order to protect yourself against isolation, a husband and wife must be united. God calls husbands to be a covering for their wives, and wives to honor and respect their husbands. Just as Christ loved and protects the church, husbands are to love and protect their wives. This means being present, attentive, and intentional about maintaining unity. It means praying together, resolving conflicts quickly, and speaking words that build up rather than tear down. When a husband fulfills his role, he creates an environment where his wife feels safe, valued, and secure. In a culture that often promotes independence over unity, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we don't need each other. But God designed marriage as a partnership where both husband and wife play a vital role. A wife's encouragement and support strengthens her husband, just as his love and protection strengthens her. When both are aligned with God's design, their marriage becomes a fortress against the enemy's schemes. To guard against the enemy's attacks, couples must be vigilant. Prayer should be a priority and not an afterthought. Open and honest communication is essential. When conflicts rise, they should be handled with grace and understanding rather than anger and blame. The goal should always be unity and not division. The more a couple fights for their marriage, the less room they give the enemy to work. The enemy will always seek to divide, but God has given husbands and wives the tools to overcome. So don't let the enemy create division between you and your husband. If something is troubling you, address it openly and honestly with him right away, rather than allowing it to build up and create distance. The Lord has given you the tools. Staying united is key. Don't allow the enemy to isolate you. Until next time.